Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scared Shitless. This is a horror retrospective, the show where we rip up our horror media like the fuselage of a plane on its way to Paris. That is a spoiler warning for anyone who is interested. I'm Ryan and I am joined by Al,
Hello.
Ali,
Hi, guys.
and a still off Jamie.
Hello.
This
Because
week,
my video's broken because I'm a dum-dum.
this week we are going to be looking at the 2000 horror Final Destination. Final Destination is the story of a young man and his classmates who, thanks to a premonition, managed to avoid a plane crash and cheat death. However, death comes looking for them in order to correct its plan. It is directed by James Wong and written by Glenn Morgan, James Wong, Jeffrey Reddick, and I believe rewrites were done after test screenings as well. It stars Devon Sawa, I may have butchered that poor guy's name, Ali Larter, Kerr Smith, Sean William Scott, Chad Donella, and Tony motherfucking Todd. Yes, this is like pinnacle 2000 horror. So I've seen this quite a few times. I've seen the entire franchise. Jamie, you definitely haven't seen it. Your horror movie stuff is pretty limited. What was your feelings about this?
I enjoyed it. Something a bit, well, clearly we're in 2021 now, so it's not something a bit different by today's standards, but 20 years ago.
Ali,
I really enjoyed it. The escalation was quite fun.
Good. Ali, am I correct in thinking you have never seen this one, but you had seen one of the sequels?
Yes, I've seen the second one first. And the first one I have only just seen for the first time a few days ago. And long story short, I really enjoyed it.
Okay. And Al, like me, you had seen this. You had seen this before, right?
Yeah, I'd seen it a couple of times before.
Yeah. How did you find revisiting it?
Yeah, I enjoyed rewatching it. I think even though I knew, I mean, like I say, it's been a long time since I've watched it. I've probably seen it maybe twice. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. It's been probably 15 years since I watched it. Okay. So I still enjoyed it. It was good.
It definitely wasn't as long as 15 years for me, I've got to say. It's been a while, but I've not watched it in a couple of years, but definitely not as long as 15. But so, I mean, is it just me? I think this is the first time I've watched it really scrutinizing it because we were going to discuss it. All other times I've just put it on and enjoyed it, but I actually felt that I could tell there were so many different writers to this. It felt a little disjointed to me. And I think maybe the films get a bit smoother in the sequels. What did you guys think about that? Did it feel disjointed to you? Did it flow?
I can't say I noticed actually, but I don't know if I probably wasn't looking for that. I don't know if maybe now that you've mentioned it, if I watched it again, it might be a bit more obvious.
Yeah, like
I'm in agreement.
You think so as well?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this film's more about, let's just get to the parts where we're killing people because that's what people are here to see, type of thing.
I think 100% that's kind of how it comes. Like that's the feeling you're left with, and I think the sequels in particular really lean into that. I think the sequels are like people are just here for the deaths, and ultimately, I think in reality that is what happens, and the deaths get more elaborate and stuff as the movies go on. And I love that element of it. But I felt in this one they maybe tried to do a little more than they were actually able to pull off. Like I think they tried to be maybe more serious or something. I don't know. It just didn't all feel like it gelled perfectly to me. But I mean, if you guys didn't feel that, that's... Sorry, Ali?
the first one was all serious, and the sequels were just like the kills just for kicks. So to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sequels had the benefit of knowing what worked with the first one, and they're like, we know that this element of the story really worked, so let's really lean heavy into that. Whereas this one, it was still kind of trying to figure things out, and I know it was originally based off an idea that one of the writers had for an X-Files episode. And it never got made into an X-Files episode.
Apologies.
And he made it into this. No worries. So, but I mean, like, there's a few bits in particular. Like, one of the reasons I feel it was a bit disjointed is like in the opening of the movie, it opens with like all this religious imagery, like demons, and there's like shots from old religious texts and things like this, and it's quite demonic and everything else. But then that has absolutely nothing to do with the story at all. There are no demons, there's no religious texts, there's absolutely nothing. Now, if they were showing images of, say, the Reaper or Chiron from Greek mythology, the ferryman, or things like this, that would make sense. But we didn't see anything like that. We saw like some satanic shit that all had nothing to do with it at all.
So the opening credits were deceiving then.
Yeah, I just think they didn't quite know what they were doing with it. I think there were just too many cooks in the kitchen, and someone was like, "This will look really fucking cool." And don't get me wrong, it looked cool. It just has nothing to do with the story. And like another, it shows you quite heavily in the opening credits. So it opens with the book, "Death of a Salesman" is really displayed. Now, that was a play. I've never read it or seen the play or anything. But I do know it's about a salesman who dies at the end.
No,
imagine that. So I was like, maybe there are some thematic stuff in common. So I, out of curiosity, looked into it, because they wouldn't just put Death of a Salesman there for no reason, would they? And apparently not.
Yes, they would.
Yeah, it's just there because a guy dies in it. So I mean, that's thematically in common, right? So yeah, it just felt like they were, maybe they were trying to be smarter than they actually were, and it didn't pay off. And I do think the reason for that is they just had too many people putting in ideas, and they were maybe throwing too much at the wall, and they should have reined it in a bit. But anyway, I'm being much harsher on it than it's coming across like I'm being much harsher on it than I'm intending to be.
Yeah.
It's because I feel what did worked really well. So, Ali, what do you think worked well about this film?
Just the whole because I was watching it for fresh eyes. Yes, I've seen the one of the sequels, but I was going into this with refreshened eyes, and just watching the whole sequence of how the main character got his premonition, and it just followed suit from that. The only thing as a whole for the film that was sort of out of place for me was they never actually gave you any intuition of why or how he got that premonition. Maybe he was given this special gift, but they didn't elaborate on that. They just went with it.
I should say to you right there, if that's going to bother you, it's going to bother you for the next 4 movies we're going to watch as well, because that shit is never addressed at any point.
So we don't get any explanation of why the fuck these people are getting visions of disaster.
We don't. They get premonitions and just accept it and move on. Again, I think who knows?
Or in this case, they get a vision and then make a couple of massive leaps and just happen to guess completely correctly how to save themselves.
Yes. So, well, I mean, I suppose, So it
and
starts...
did they all have a creepy conversation with a mortician in
That
the
mortician is Tony Todd, and Tony Todd is a horror legend. So
He's a creepy fucker. That's what he was.
he is. Unfortunately, he does not appear in every single Final Destination film, but he does appear in the first three. I can't remember if he's in the fourth or fifth one. I've only watched both of those films once. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I suppose more detail about the story. A school trip to Paris is happening, and one of the characters, Alex, played by Devon Sawa. Again, I may not be saying his name correctly. While on the plane, has a very detailed premonition about the plane exploding as it takes off, or just after takeoff. To which he somewhat understandably freaks the fuck out and causes him and some of his classmates and one of his teachers to get thrown off the plane.
His teachers?
Yes, but one gets back on.
Yeah, so, but they're all thrown off.
The plane then explodes. And yeah, then the rest of them die in very interesting ways. And like I say, as the films progress, the ways in which people die only get more interesting. Another thing that, I'll hold it. Jamie.
Yes.
Give me your a bit more in-depth thoughts. What do you think worked about this, or what do you think didn't work? Let's hear it.
I mean, I just thought it was a movie with a lot of great kills in it. I didn't really think the storyline was anything too interesting. The guy had a vision, and then they were just trying to outrun death. And death was a cunning bastard, and it was quite amusing. It was quite amusing when they thought they were safe, and then something happened, and it turned out they weren't. And
yeah,
I don't know. There was a lot of different parts to the film. I felt like at some points it was the whole FBI questioning them bit that was a bit slow, and then he eventually gets released, and then some action, and I don't know. I think the ending just felt a bit weird to me as well, but we can get to that later. But I say I enjoyed it. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it's got great kills in it.
Yeah,
but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, the sequels especially lead into that. They know they're not the best movies. They know you're coming for the kills, and they just want you to have a good time while you're watching it. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I love a movie that you can just stick on and enjoy. I genuinely do. And like I say, I feel like I'm coming across as a bit harsh on it, but it's just because I feel like a lot of stuff was like, why is that there? Like, it's there for literally no reason. Anyway, Al, what was your thoughts on this, on what we have discussed?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with sort of what you've been saying. It's, you don't watch this film for a thrilling storyline and in-depth meaning and stuff like that. It's kind of just there because you're like, show me gory death sort of thing, and that it does really well. Like you say, that there's bits of it I found really jarring, and it was the sort of big leaps that he makes. All of a sudden, he guesses, "Oh, if I do this," that was a wee bit jarring to me. But if you kind of just, I tried to just kind of zone out of that and just watch it as I would normally, and in that way, it's really quite fun.
Yeah, it is very fun. I mean, even in one of my notes, I made performances are all okay. The kills are what make the franchise and why we're here. Like literally word for word, that's what I wrote. Everyone in the film was fine. No one was bad, but no one was outstanding. But I don't think anyone was given I don't think anyone had the material to be outstanding. Like, I think you could put like Marlon Brando and Daniel Day-Lewis in this thing, and their performances would essentially be the same, because but
like you say, if they've got a script that's either been glued together or chopped apart by 6-7 different people, then it's always going to be disjointed. It's never going to be great. Like,
and
you got a script that's got one or two people working together, so it's one thing. But
I think all the actors done as well as could be expected. I mean, like Ali Larter, I really like her. I had a crush on her for years when I was younger. Partly due to this film, probably to do with mostly to do with Varsity Blues. That whipped cream bikini in Varsity Blues. That I might watch that film later. Yeah, I mean, let's get to the kills because ultimately that's why we're here, right? So
I don't know. I want to hear more about this whipped cream bikini.
Jamie, trust
Watch
me,
Varsity Blues then.
Yeah, watch Varsity Blues.
Not a horror movie, but still,
I can't.
go for it.
I can't do the whipped cream bikini credit. You need to see it for yourself.
Yeah, please don't.
But so kills. This film, if we don't count the plane and the bridge and the building and everything in Brightburn that all came down at the end, and we never really saw it happening other than random clips. This film, by a long shot, has the most kills that we've covered, with 292 deaths in this film.
Wow.
So that was
but when you start bringing in like sort of mass disasters and stuff, the kill count definitely does get skewed.
Oh yeah, very inflated. I mean,
what's the kill count without the plane?
Without the plane, we have 5.
5, yeah, right. That's
So,
more like it.
Yeah, but we have 287 people die on the plane. But
yes, I looked this up earlier. Someone worked it out. Apparently, that if we're looking at averages, it's a kill every 20 seconds. So it just goes to show that
Nice.
averages
mean when you when you put them like that.
Do you know who worked it out?
I can't remember. It's some YouTube channel.
Fair enough. But yeah, huge amount of deaths. 287 on the plane, and I didn't count the plane deaths when we were discussing Brightburn because we didn't see him take out the plane. We saw the plane, and then in the next shot, we saw the wreckage of the plane. Yeah, exactly. This one, we actually saw it explode, and with the premonition, we saw it pretty detailed. From inside the plane, we saw these people get some of them pretty horrendously killed and sucked out the side, and we even saw Alex, the lead character, burning to death. But that ended up not happening, of course. That was the premonition. He got away, but the plane did explode. We then have Todd, Alex's best friend, who death is the first victim of death as a scheming killer, where he causes some water to spill from the toilet, which causes him to slip into a clothesline and get strangled to death. Choked out by a clothesline. So if you're interested in wrestling talk, go and check Ali's channel out.
Smooth.
That was a segue if there ever was one. But, yeah, so Todd chokes
It seemed
to
to
death
be
in the top.
seemed to be an invincible clothesline. Like you just, couldn't.
That was
couldn't
not
get away from
breaking.
it.
He was slipping in the tub. What kind of annoyed me is like, why not just push yourself up from the sides of the tub? Like you're down, you're choking, you're trying to get his feet. Just push yourself up, man. You've got hands. Like, use your hands.
I think he was in panic mode. He was in panic mode.
He was definitely in panic mode. But come on, man, don't be a dick. you're choking to death. Do something about it. But one of the bits I was going to say earlier that's disjointed, or I felt it was, that kind of didn't make sense, is in this. After Todd chokes to death, death cleans up the water that it spilled from
the water magically recedes again.
Disappears.
That was weird.
What was that all about? It never does that again.
Yeah,
I think it was as if a way for them to say death is committing these acts, possibly.
We couldn't tell that otherwise. I mean,
yeah.
It's, that bit, I'm just like, that was completely unnecessary. It didn't make any sense. And then they clearly knew it didn't make sense because they didn't do it again in this very movie. It's not like they abandoned it from one movie to the next. They abandoned it from one scene to the next. And anyway, Todd choked to death with a clothesline. Next, we have Terry, Carter's girlfriend, who is hit by a bus out of nowhere while telling the
Quite
guys that
dramatically.
she's not letting this shit lose her life. Yeah, and I mean that. I remember the first time I saw that, it actually did seem out of nowhere. You know, it's. I think it's quite a common trait now. I think you see stuff like that all the time, but at the time, I don't think I had seen that before. At least not done quite to that effect. But anyway, she's splattered.
Apparently, when test audiences saw that, it took a really long time for them to sort of recover. So they had to put in like a spoof, well, not a spoof, but like a filler scene because people were so shocked.
Yeah,
because like no one had ever seen it before. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, but it was. So that's where we got that stupid scene afterwards. From
what was the scene? What was the scene? Was it not him hanging about having a drink or something afterwards?
I think it was something like that, but that was never meant to be in there. Apparently,
they literally just put that in to give audience a chance to calm down,
time to recover from seeing that. Because apparently, as I say, the test audiences were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" and they couldn't move on. So they had to pop that in there.
That's reasonable because that's it's a pretty impactful boss hit. So next we have Miss Luton, the teacher who got off the plane, and through a series of unfortunate events, she is stabbed in the neck by a piece of glass that exploded out of her computer, and then stabbed in the stomach with a knife, and then the knife is knocked further in by a chair, and then she is burned to death as her house explodes. So,
and the fire starts.
Fucking about.
No. The fire starts with a trail of magic vodka because vodka doesn't burn like that.
Yeah, vodka is not flammable. At least.
Doesn't alcohol need to be at least 100 proof before it'll explode, before it'll catch fire?
I don't know how proof it needs to be
exactly, like 50% alcohol.
I do know with 100% certainty vodka does not burn, but some whiskey can. So I don't know. And moonshine definitely can. That I can. But she was not drinking moonshine. So
I can't imagine.
Sure,
unless she had some kind of like quadruple distilled Russian crazy vodka, like that just wouldn't have happened.
It would not happen.
I mean, I know it's drawing a line in the film where a lot of stuff just wouldn't happen, but come on.
Yeah.
I do like that. Like this is the hill you're choosing to fight and die on, Jamie. So
yeah,
all the other things that have happened, you're like, but the vodka wouldn't have burned.
The vodka wouldn't have burned, and everybody knows that. Like the rest of it, when we know shit's not meant to happen, we can believe it. But when you're just going against crap like that, come up with something else. She could have dropped like petrol or something.
So
walking around for a mug of petrol in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We have the Mullen Carter's car. Who's driving a bit erratically. He's having a wee bit of a freak out and stops his car on the train tracks. And of course, a train is coming. He is almost killed, but Alex manages to pull him out on time, which supposedly saved him from death. He was supposed to be next. He no longer was. However, poor Billy gets decapitated with a piece of shard from the car.
Spectacular fashion.
Knocked right up from the train and doesn't take his head off from the neck. It's like from just above the mouth or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
all these scenes in movies where trains are coming towards a parked car. Why is the train never braking before it hits the car? I was watching it. I was like, okay, it's not. Why are you not braking yet? Like, you just gotta keep going and
can't see it.
Realistically, I think a train.
If you can't see it, why is it going like?
I think the train takes so long to brake that they just don't even try, because it literally can't. If you're on the tracks and it can see you, you need to get off or you're getting run over. Like, it cannot stop in time. Like, it is physically impossible for the train to stop before it hits you.
Surely it'll make the derailing less cataclysmic or whatever if you're going a bit slower.
I
I've just never
don't
understood.
necessarily think so. In fact, I think if it's going slower and it makes contact, it probably puts everyone on the train in more danger.
It was a cargo train, wasn't it? Or was it a normal train? I can't remember.
I think it was a cargo train, to be fair.
If you are a physicist and you know the answer to whether or not going faster or slower is better, let us know.
Let us know in the comments. I genuinely would be.
Somebody get onto
interested in
Mythbusters.
Yeah.
However, Billy is decapitated, played by Sean William Scott. He dead.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Very
so
dead.
next death attempts to kill Clear, which a weird name, by the way. But anyway, Clear Rivers is almost killed by death in a very elaborate and interesting way when eventually she ends up trapped in a car with an electric line trying to get to her.
Literally trying.
Yeah, it wasn't its best.
Like a snake.
However, Alex jumps in and saves the day by electrocuting himself, and then he is revived, and by one of the FBI agents, and it appears like the movie's over there. Everyone's the Clear, Alex, and Carter have survived death.
One of those FBI agents was called Shrek.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah,
but this movie was 2 years before Shrek the movie.
Yeah.
But it makes him retroactively hilarious.
I think. Then the movie turns out, of course, they're not safe, and death comes back around and goes for Alex, because that part I don't get, right? I mean, they say you can survive if someone intervenes and saves you, okay? And they're like, oh, but no one intervened to save Alex. But that's bullshit. Alex was dead. He literally got revived. Is being revived not intervened? So I call bullshit about it being Alex's turn. But I don't know. Again,
is saving and reviving different, I suppose, is the argument there. Because saving would be stopping them from getting killed, and reviving would be bringing them back after they've been, technically, their heart's been stopped.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, a sign goes to fall on Alex when they're eventually in Paris. Carter saves them, but it comes back round and kills Carter.
Which wasn't the original end to the movie.
Was it not?
Isn't there an alternate ending?
That was re-recorded because, again, test audiences didn't like the original. The original was something to do with the girl that was still alive had a baby, and then that broke the thing, because apparently life can, break the spell or whatever. But apparently people thought that was bullshit, so they recorded a different ending, which cost them an extra couple of million. But
I got you say that sounds like bullshit. I think I prefer the ending we got. Death just coming back and killing them anyway.
Me too.
So anyway, that's all the deaths. So some of them were pretty graphic. So I mean, Al, which was your favorite?
I've got a lot of time for the bus just coming out of nowhere and absolutely destroying somebody. It's very, very similar to Brightburn. We basically just run straight through them and explodes them. A very close second's got to be the decapitation, but just the bus absolutely destroying someone out of nowhere. It's got to be that one.
Okay. Ali, what about yourself?
Definitely the teacher dying, because she was just not having any luck at all, and still by the third thing that hit her, he was just like, okay, she's dead now, because she got the computer glass that somehow went for her, got her in the neck, and then she felt she had the knife fall on her, and then Alex comes in and makes it worse. So. And then, as you say, after that, then the house exploded. It's just like, Jesus, they just really wanted to make sure the teacher was dead.
Yeah, she was dead.
Why the hell did he touch the knife? I don't understand that. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, did he
that was,
Exactly.
the
did he think
FBI's
by
already
yanking it?
looking at him dodgy. Yeah, so yeah, I'll
It
pick the
made
knife
him
up
look
and pull it out.
suspicious.
Yeah,
Great idea.
they've literally just released you out of like questioning, and your first idea is to go to the place and then touch the weapon that's in
And
her
then he
chest.
realizes he's done it, and he's like, "Oh shit! I've touched the knife. That's me." Shit.
Bro, Jamie, which death was your favorite?
I quite liked all of them. I think maybe the decapitation, because it was so unexpected. You were like, all this build up for the car, and then just pa-chung!
Billy getting his
Oh,
head cut off.
God.
But I mean, that bus was out of nowhere. But I mean, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. But I think the decapitation is probably the best.
I think
I'm
best
so
thing
past. I'm so
about-
past like electronic wires, like killing people. Like I was like, meh.
I think the best thing about the decapitation was Billy was so adamant that Carter was next. That he's like, I'm fucking staying away from you, Carter. You're dead. You're dead. Whoosh, head off. So yeah, that was it was really nice timing. I think I might agree with you, Jamie. I think I might give it to the decapitation. Although maybe actually the plane, the actual disaster was so cool in the premonition. I mean, obviously we never saw it much when out with the premonition. We just saw the plane explode in the background, but during the actual premonition, that whole sequence I think was incredible. Like I think the whole film was really make or break there. If they weren't able to nail that, then the whole film would have flopped. And I think they absolutely cracked that. They done an amazing job with that plane crash, in my opinion. So yeah, fuck it. I'm giving it to the plane. I'm giving it to the 287 people who died on that plane.
It was, they could have hurried along the whole sort of, teenage people going on a holiday bit. I was getting bored before the plane. Because one thing I did notice was all this random crap that he was seeing. Like, he was suddenly getting freaked out by the departure time, and then he sees like a broken tray table. So that must mean they're going, oh fucking that, I don't get it. Like, just such normal shit, and he was just, I don't know. I want more build up for the freak out. Not.
Yeah, he was clearly worried about a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily. I mean, he was just worried about everything. I assume he was just scared of flying in general. I mean, they, at the very start, he was like, you can't take that tag off the suitcase because, that suitcase has already been on a successful flight, and so clearly superstitious, clearly overly worried.
What was it he saw on one of the departure screens? I think it said, was it like terminal, and then it zoomed in and it was like boom. I was like, oh my god, really?
I don't know.
It's such a normal words to come up on a departure. I was just laughing at it.
Fair enough. Right, Jamie. Overall, then, how many stabs would you give Final Destination?
As I say, I did enjoy it. There's, if you're looking for a deep storyline or whatever, don't bother watching it. I wouldn't say it was particularly scary, but there was I'd say there was definitely a lot of entertainment to be had here. So I'll give it 3.5 stars or stabs.
Okay.
Even.
Ali, how many stabs?
It's a good time film. I would say you could put it on and crack open a beer, have a pizza, and it's just a good time film. So I'll give it 3.5 stabs.
Okay. Al, will you be showing this movie to your kids?
Oh, yeah, obviously. But maybe not quite yet.
That's just good parenting.
Exactly. You need to warn them about these things.
How many stabs?
3. I do enjoy it, but there was a few things. I think I enjoyed it a lot more the first couple of times I watched it. I think watching it and actually paying a lot more attention to it, there was just a few things that bugged me. And Alex also really annoyed me pretty much the whole way through the film. He was just he was just really annoying. But no, I did enjoy it. And if you were just chilling out and watching it, it is good fun. But there's just a few things that sort of niggled at me through it.
I agree with you. I'll give it 3 stabs myself. I think it is very enjoyable, and I think you can slam it on and just have a good time watching it. But I think because they were not just trying to be enjoyable, I feel like they were trying to do more than that, and it failed on that level. Which the next ones don't even bother with, by the way. The next ones just try and make a good film and have a good time. You know, they just try and make a fun movie with some sweet kills.
Which is really what they should be doing with films like this. Like, don't try and take yourself seriously. Just make them fun. Because that's what people are there for.
A film that you can sit down and enjoy, and that's really what, at least that's what I'm after when I watch these films. So I still really enjoyed it. I still enjoy the kills, but they get better as the series goes on. And I'll give this one a 3. It's a good premise.
So would you say the franchise actually gets better? Or is it just because they sort of know more what they are?
I think they just know more what they are as it goes on. I would say the acting probably gets worse. But the kills get better, and it leans more into just having a good time and doing some kills, which in this case I don't think is a bad thing. You know what I mean? But right, that is it from us this week. So come and join us next week, where we will be discussing Final Destination 2, because that is the next one, obviously. If you want some wrestling, science fiction, or comic book content, head over to Ali's channel, Aldo SJ McLaren. He is pointing to the description box because that is where you will find a link. If you want stuff from the talking picture himself, you can head over to Jamie's channel, Potter Nerd, where he discusses witches and wizards that are a little less deadly than the stuff we discuss. I mean, what's that all about, Jamie? They've got a kill curse and they're like, never fucking use it. Like,
because they're not fucking evil, bro.
Oh, really?
Because they're the good guys.
Anyway,
yeah, well, he uses it. He'd fucking waste Ghostface. So. He is Ghostface, basically.
For more content from Al and myself, look at the rest of our stuff here. We've got more stuff. Go check it out.
It's good.
Should be something on this side you can click, and there should be something on this side you can click. Click one of them. You have options. Also, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comment section if you were scared shitless. And like any good killer, we will be back next time for one last scare.